So it's called The Hustler. And thank you for the previous story, psychological help there. Wow, that really keyed into me. Made a lot of sense to me. Why do I hang out with misfits and freaks? Who knows why there. Anyways, The Hustler. As far back as I can remember, I've always was a hustler. Not that I wanted to be one, I've always been a hustler. What is a hustler? You turn a nickel into a dime, right? My parents were young, 19 and 20, and I grew up in the 70s. I was born in 1973. So, I have a unique perception of the 70s. For those of you of age in the 70s, you probably don't remember it. For those of you that weren't born before the 70s, you don't remember it at all. So I saw the 70s. And to sum that up, there were two things. In the 70s, 18-year-olds could drink. And there were quaaludes. So when you think about that for a minute, when I was on kindergarten bus, I saw a lot of people trashing the high schools. Shaving cream was all over the place. You ever see the movie Dazed and Confused? You remember that? That was what I remember the 70s. So it was a strange period. So my parents had a lot of parties. And I grew up hustling by getting drinks, by getting food, by rolling cigarettes for people. I got money for that in exchange for that. So I learned to make a dime. So when I was coming up, my parents always told me, I don't like this. My parents always told me when I wanted something, whether I wanted food, whether I wanted candy, whether I wanted a toy, when you get a job and you start paying the bills, right, you all heard that, you can get what you want. So I took that to heart. I was in the 8th grade. I had American history class, right? And in American history class, you had to turn in a notebook at the end of class to get an A in the class. So to get an A, you had to turn in a full completed notebook and took notes. I had a computer. And this is in the time before computers. The computer I talked about had a 256K hard drive. A 256 kilobyte hard drive, that's what I had back in the day. I was really nerdy and geeky. So he said you had to turn in a notebook. You could copy it off your friends, it didn't matter. So I sat down, I typed out all the notes. And I printed them out on a dot matrix printer. And I sold them in the class for 20 bucks a pop. And I sold 10 of those. I made 200 bucks. 200 bucks when I was in the 8th grade was a lot of fucking money, let me tell you. I could buy all kinds of stuff. And that was way before I did drugs or anything like that. So I could buy a lot of candy, a lot of quarter arcade games, things of that nature. I know times have changed. Kids in the 8th grade run lots of drugs nowadays. That was before this time, so I wasn't doing drugs at them. But I got caught. And I got pulled up in front of class. And it said, Mr. Green here did something. What do you all think about this? And I pleaded my case. I told him it's American history class. This is the American way. I'm an entrepreneur, right? I bullshit his way through it. And he looked at me and he's like, you know, that's right. You all should be like Mr. Green. You should be an entrepreneur. And I walked away a hero. So what he was trying to teach me in life was being an entrepreneur is not a bad thing, right? What I learned was I could get away with this shit. That's what I learned. So maybe that is what the American dream is. Maybe it's a fine line. Oh, walk in front of the camera, who cares? Whether it's a fine line being an entrepreneur or a bullshitter or someone that gets away with breaking the rules and making a fucking profit off of it, that's what I did. Now, fast forward 9th grade, I felt cocky. I did the same thing, had health class. My health class was the high school football coach. Kind of a hard ass, right? He had the same principle. You take notes, and if you turn them in, you get an A. So I'm going to make some more money, right? I did this. He caught me. He suspended my ass. What does that teach you about capitalism? Anyways, the whole point of this is the American dream, you can chase that, but sometimes you're going to get caught and get busted and go to jail. It all depends on legalities. So what is legal? Is it the person that said that's an entrepreneur, or the person that got my ass suspended? Anyways, I've always been a hustler, and I always will be a hustler.